back to my channel. I'm Sarah. Today's video I'm really excited about because we're talking about food and I really like talking about food. So today's video is going to be all about snacks. I don't know about you, but I have been snacking a lot during this quarantine. So the snacks I'm going to be showing you today are gluten-free, dairy-free, and I'm pretty sure they're vegan for the most part. And if they aren't, then you can easily make them vegan. They're also high in nutrients, so they're all healthy for you. So the first snack I'm going to be making today is some kale chips. The kale that I have today is looking a little limp, so I'm going to make it into a chip form because I know I probably wouldn't be eating this otherwise and I don't want to waste it. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is washing it. You always want to make sure that you wash your produce before you eat it, even if you're baking it. I'm going to just set them for 350. There you go. Alright, I'm going to start off by just spraying the pan with olive oil just so they don't stick. I'm then just gonna lay all of my kale out, being super careful not to try to cover any pieces. Just lay them out. Alright, so they're all laid out. I tried my best not to overlap them, but the next step is to I don't have olive oil, so I've been using spray, but it works just as good. You can also use coconut oil, whatever kind of oil that you want. And then I'm just spraying over all the chips and all the kale. And the reason why I spray before is so all the seasoning can stick to the kale. And then I'm just massaging all of them with my hands. And now we're gonna get into the good stuff. So honestly, I suck at measuring. I never measure when I cook. I kind of eyeball things. But for you guys, I want to give measurements so you guys can try them at home. If you like following more towards a recipe type of thing. All right, so I'm just gonna start just by doing a pinch. There is a tablespoon in here right now, but I don't know if I'll be even using a whole tablespoon. Now the thing about seasonings is you can always add more, but you cannot take it away. I personally don't think with all these seasonings you need too much salt, so I'm gonna do maybe 2 pinches of salt. I like a little kick, so I'm gonna do a lot. And then of course pepper. Black pepper makes everything better. Guys, my mom made kale chips for me one time, and she brought them to New York, and they were so salty. I thought I was gonna have to go to the hospital. It was awful. Oh my god. So after you massage all of these in, spread them out on the sheet, trying not to overlap them so they all cook evenly. That seems good enough. Cool. Alright, now I'm just going to wait for the oven to go off and then I'm going to throw these in and then I'll check back with you. The second snack that I'm going to be making today are roasted chickpeas. And I know that there is a lot of confusion as to how to make chickpeas. It took me a very long time to perfect a recipe. So I'm going to show you what I do for a light, high protein snack. Starting off, so I personally just use the canned chickpeas. You can, be all hardcore and get your own chickpeas and soak them yourself. I'm just, realistic lifestyle. I just think it's easier to do it from a can. So what I'm gonna do is soak these in the sink. So I'm just rinsing these. But one important part about making these that a lot of people forget about is actually taking 2 pieces of paper towel, putting them over and just massaging them. And the reason why you're doing this is to try to take off the skin, because the skin is actually the thing that causes a lot of people to feel bloated and gassy, and it's harder for you to digest the skin. So just do this and take off the skin as much as you can. Doesn't have to be perfect, I'm making a mess. Also, the skin is what causes the chickpea to have moisture in them. So the reason why you try to make chickpeas or roasted chickpeas and they don't get hard is probably because of the skin. This part is really tedious. So this part is probably the most tedious part of this entire video, and that's just, you know, any chickpeas that you don't think got off, just kind of take them off. Alright, I'm just finishing up these chickpeas or garbanzo beans. Now before I season them off, I just want to get them nice and golden brown. So I'm just going to throw these in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. Whoa, you know when you put things in the oven and then your eyes just like fog up? Okay, we are on our third snack, and to be honest, these are my favorite. In college, I would make these for my roommate and I every week. I would meal prep them and we were obsessed. I really like these because they're so versatile. I should say what they are. What I'm making is protein balls, and you could also make them in a form of a bar. I personally just like eating the balls. Alright, so I just took the kale chips out of the oven. One thing I'm going to suggest is that you flip them halfway through. I kept them in the oven for like 15 minutes. They're pretty good, and I just took off the pieces that were ready. I have them all over my shirt. Why did I wear white for a cooking video? Anyway, I took out the pieces that were ready and then left the pieces that are still needing to be cooked in the oven still. But other than that, they're pretty good. I really like pepper, so I think they're good. But if you don't, then you can change the portions. Back to the balls. I'm just going to show you a pretty basic recipe, and you guys can add whatever you want. I know in college I used to add like cranberries with almond butter instead of like peanut butter. What did I do? I would just, whatever I bought or had in the house, I would just throw in. And I think, I would add like pumpkin sometimes, and that was really good. So yeah, but I'm just going to show you a pretty basic recipe, and you guys can just add what you want. Alright, I'm just going to start out with 1 cup of oats. This is a half a cup, so I'm going to do 2 of them. You can use whatever kind of oats that you have. I'm just using these Quaker gluten-free oats. I am then I'm going to take a half a cup of peanut butter. I would always struggle with putting peanut butter in a measuring cup and having it stick, so I always just, just kind of, you could also spray it. Moisturizer. This peanut butter is really good. It's Brown Bear. They don't sell this in stores, but it's at like a local farmer's market where I live, and I bought it, and now I'm gonna use all of it. Yeah, so I'm just gonna throw a half a cup of peanut butter in here. I love peanut butter. It's my favorite food. For good fiber and some healthy fats, chia seeds, they help you stay full for a very long time. I'm gonna say that this was a tablespoon. And then, of course, don't be shy with the cinnamon. I love cinnamon. I don't think that you can have too much cinnamon. And then, of course, some honey, just so everything can stick together. You don't have to use honey. You can use agave, coconut, nectar, anything that's sticky that has a Yum. I have a huge sweet tooth, so I'm gonna throw some chocolate chips in there because let's see, why not? I'm gonna finish this bag off. There's not too much after. There was like 4 in there. So I'm just gonna throw some cacao nibs. They're a little bit bitter. They do not taste like chocolate chips, but they have really, really good and powerful antioxidants, which are great for fighting free radicals in your body. I'm just gonna throw in a pinch, just for some texture. And then I feel like the best way to do it is mixing it with your hands. Actually, what did I do? I'm gonna mix it with this. And then mix it all up. Seeing what else you need. Yeah, honestly, the best way to do it is just using your hands. Now that I'm doing this, I think that it would be a great idea to spray your hands with whatever type of oil that you have. So, you know, this doesn't happen. But it's fine, we'll just work with it. All right, now I'm just gonna roll them up in little bite-sized balls. Not really measuring it or being too precise. It's not getting baked or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about cooking all of them evenly. I actually tried spraying my hands. It didn't really work that well, so what I'm doing, I actually just wet my hands, and it's working out great, and it doesn't use as much oil. So that's a great tip. Okay, so I just rolled up all of these balls, and now I'm just gonna pop them in the freezer. Okay, so these are the chickpeas and what they look like when you put them in the oven for 15 minutes. And they should be golden brown, a little hard. I'm gonna actually just divide them in half, and I'm gonna do half savory and half sweet. If I were going back and doing this, if you're making them for more than just yourself, or even just yourself, I'd probably put a little bit more in them. I'd probably use 2 cans. Okay, so starting with the savory, I'm gonna start by just taking 1 teaspoon of coconut oil. Not even, just like a little bit of coconut oil. And the seasonings, I'm just gonna be taking a little bit of pepper, some garlic. Garlic makes everything better. A touch of sea salt and some chili powder. Now we're just gonna massage. So that was my savory chickpeas. And then moving on to the sweet chickpeas. Again, I'm taking the same amount of coconut oil, taking some cinnamon. Don't be afraid of cinnamon. Cinnamon is 1, really good for you, and 2, adds a lot of flavor. I'm gonna take some honey. You don't have to use honey, you can use any sort of sweetener like this. And then I'm just gonna do a touch of some sea salt just to get all the flavors out. And I'm just gonna mix all of these together. The savory and the sweet. Put that on there, lay them out evenly, and then I'm gonna lay the savory. I'm just gonna pop these in the oven for 30 to 40 minutes. All right, so that concludes today's video, and now I have all these delicious snacks to get me through maybe a day. So yeah, I just have some of my healthy protein balls, the chickpeas that I left in the oven for 30 minutes actually, but if you have more, then I would leave them in for a little bit longer, and my kale chips. And you just kind of eyeball them and see what works with your oven. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for more video ideas. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.